Hello friends, welcome back. In previous video we have seen the various structures possible for the ionic compounds. Now in this video we have to study how to find out or how to calculate the ionic radii. So let's start with this ionic radii. First of all we are having the definition. What is the definition of ionic radius or the ionic radii? So the first definition possible is known as the space occupied by an ion in any direction in lattice is called as the ionic radii. Or the second definition is the distance between the nucleus of an ion, that means the central place, the nucleus of an ion and its electron cloud is known as the ionic radii. Further, we can say that the X-ray analysis is used to measure the internuclear distance between the two ions in ionic compounds, and it is expressed in the unit nanometer, that is nm. The internuclear distance, that means the D, is the distance between the two ions, which is equals to the sum of ionic radii of the two ions as they are touching to each other. That means we can say that the internuclear distance is between it is the sum of ionic radii of the two ions. So let us explain this. So we are having this molecule. This molecule is known as the homonuclear diatomic molecule. Why it is homonuclear diatomic molecules? Because the two atoms which are forming the molecules, they are same. That's why it is called as the homonuclear diatomic molecules. Now here we can say that the distance between the nucleus to the outermost electron, that will be the radius for the first ion. Similarly we are having the radius of the second atom. Now the combination of these two radii, that will be the here small r, or we can say that it will be the internuclear distance. So the internuclear distance, it will be the sum of ionic radii of the two ions. Why? Because they are touching to each other. Similarly we are having the second molecule. This molecule is known as a heteronuclear diatomic molecules. Heteronuclear, why? Because it is forming the two different atoms. So the two different atoms is, suppose this is the A and this is the B. We are having the cation and the anion. They are touching to each other, and then the D, here D is known as the internuclear distance. What is the internuclear distance? It is the radius of anion plus radius of cation. Radius of anion means from the nucleus to the outermost electron cloud, and for the cation, nucleus to outermost cation, and the sum of or addition of these two ionic radii, that will be called as the D. D is called as the internuclear distance, right? So here we can say that from the figure shows the radius of atom A in homonuclear diatomic molecules and internuclear distance of molecule AB in the heteronuclear diatomic molecules. Then Pauling's univalent radii. So let us explain the Pauling's univalent radii. The scientist Pauling determined the ionic radii of univalent ion, such as the ions of alkali metals and the halogens. Okay, he studied only 4 ionic compounds. These 4 ionic compounds, they are sodium fluoride, potassium chloride, rubidium bromide, and the cesium iodide. He selected only these 4 ionic compounds. Why? Because they may have some similar characteristics or the properties. Which are these properties? The first one is they have same radius ratio, and that is 0.75. Second, their bonds, they are almost having the equal ionic character. Third one, the cation and the anions are isoelectronic. Isoelectronic means they are having the same number of electrons. Same number of electrons for the cation and the same number of electrons for the anion. That's why it is called as the isoelectronic. And the last one, all they are having the NaCl type of the structure. That means the FCC type of structure, except the cesium iodide, which is having the cesium chloride type of the structure. So these are the characteristics due to which we are getting the Pauling's univalent radii. So let us explain this. We are having further assumptions. There are 2 assumptions made by the scientist Pauling. Okay, so these 2 assumptions are, the first one is the measure internuclear distance. Internuclear distance means sum of radii of the 2 ions. So it is a D is equals to radius of cation plus radius of anion. And the second assumption is that the ratio Rc upon I, radius of cation to radius of anion, should be inversely proportional to the ratio of the effective nuclear charge filled by the electrons. So we can say that is Rc upon Ra is equals to, inversely proportional means opposite. So we are having Z effective of Ra, effective nuclear charge of radius of anion, 2 radius of cation. Then the effective nuclear charge is obtained by subtracting a screening constant from the actual nuclear charge. That means we can say that Z effective is equal to actual nuclear charge minus screening constant. So these are the two assumptions made by the scientist Pauling, and by using these two assumptions we can find out the ionic radius or the ionic radii. And for this we also require one more factor, that is a screening constant, and the screening constant for the neon configuration is 4.15. We have to remember this value 4.15. Why only for the neon configuration we have to consider? Because the 4 crystals that were studied in the previous slides, all they are having the neon configuration. That means they are having the 10 electrons. That's why we have to consider the value 4.15. So let us explain this for the example sodium fluoride, right? Now here for Na plus having actual nuclear charge of 11, right? Its atomic number is 11, but Na plus means 10 electrons. That means a neon configuration. And F minus having the actual nuclear charge of 9, but minus means 1 electron is added, again it becomes 10. So both are having 10 electrons, they are isoelectronic, that means a neon configuration, that means 4.15 value, right? Then Z effective for Na plus will be 11 minus 4.15, actual nuclear charge minus the screening constant, which is equals to 6.85. And Z effective for F minus, actual nuclear charge 9 minus screening constant 4.15, which is equals to 4.85. Then according to the second assumption, what was the second assumption? Radius ratio will be inversely proportional to the nuclear charge filled by the cation and the anions. So we can say that R of radius of Na plus to radius of F minus, that means the radius ratio will be equals to effective nuclear charge filled by the cation, that is 4.85 to effective nuclear charge filled by the cation, that is 6.85, and this value becomes 0.71. So this is according to assumption number 2. This is equation number 1. Then the measured internuclear distance for a sodium fluoride is 2.31 angstrom. This value we are known with this value. That means we can say that D is equals to 2.31, right? So R of Na plus or radius of Na plus plus radius of F minus, radius of cation plus radius of anion is equals to 2.31, which is equation number 2. Then on solving equation number 1, we have what we have? Radius of Na plus, that means R of Na plus is equals to 0.71 into R of F minus, right? This will be from equation number 1. Further, by substituting the value of radius of Na plus in the second equation, we get 0.71 into R of F minus plus R of F minus is equals to 2.31. This we are getting by substituting in the value of radius of cation into second equation. Again further, therefore R of F minus, radius of F minus will be 0.71 plus 1, which is equals to 2.31, that is 1.71. RF minus becomes equals to 2.31, that means RF minus is equals to 2.31 divided by 1.71, and which is equals to 1.35 angstrom. That means the radius of F minus, radius of cation is 1.35 angstrom. Then by putting this value, we can find out the radius of cation. This is we are put in the first equation. So R of Na plus is equals to 2.31 minus 1.35, which is equals to 0.96 angstrom. So the radius of cation is 0.96 and radius of anion is 1.35. Okay, therefore Radius of cation 0.96 and radius of anion 1.35. And these two, they are known as the Pauling's univalent radii, because we are considering the univalent ion. Univalent ion means those ions which is having the valency 1. Then Pauling's univalent radii for some common cations and anions are given as: for cations, Na plus it is 0.96 Armstrong, K plus 1.33 Armstrong, rubidium plus 1.48 Armstrong, cesium plus 1.69 Armstrong. Then for anion, F minus is equals to 1.36 Armstrong, Cl minus 1.81 Armstrong, Br minus 1.95 Armstrong, I minus 2.16 Armstrong, etc. The ionic radius, from this we can say that the ionic radius of cation is always smaller than parent atom, whereas the ionic radius of anion is always greater than the parent atoms. From these figures we can say that the radius of cation is always smaller, whereas the radius of anions, it is always greater than the parent atom. Now, after Pauling's univalent radii, let us study the Pauling's crystal radii. Radius of a crystal. So the Pauling's ionic radii for the univalent ions quite match with the observed internuclear or the interionic distance, but in polyvalent ions it does not match, or it is fails. Let us take an example of magnesium oxide, that is MgO. The calculated univalent radii of the Mg2 plus ion is equals to 0.82, whereas for the O2 minus it is 1.76 Armstrong. Hence, radius of Mg2 plus radius of O2 minus, that means the internuclear distance, which is equals to 0.82 plus 1.76, which is equals to 2.58 Armstrong. That means D is equals to 2.58. But observed MgO distance is 2.05. That means these two values, they are not matching. Second example, calcium oxide. Univalent radii of calcium 2 plus is 1.18 Armstrong, O2 minus 1.76 Armstrong. Hence, the internuclear distance D is equals to 2.94 Armstrong. But the observed value is 2.39. Again, these two values, they are not matching. Is it? So, the calculated values do not agree with the observed value, because the ions, the Mg2 plus, Ca2 plus, O2 minus, they are not univalent, but they are divalent. So this is the difference. We are calculating this for the univalent, but these ions, they are actually not univalent, but they are divalent. So the conversion of the univalent radii to the crystal radii. Next point, that is the conversion of univalent radii to the crystal radii. The univalent radii, they are multiplied by a factor to convert them into the crystal radii. So the expression is radius of crystal, R crystal is equals to radius of univalent, RUN into Z raised to -2 divided by N minus 1, where we can say that R crystal is the crystal radius or the radius of the crystal, RUN is the univalent radius, Z is equals to charge on the ion, N is the Born exponent constant. Okay. The Born exponent constants are for the helium, that means the Li plus Be2 plus, its values N is equals to 5. For the neon, that means Na plus, Mg2 plus, O2 minus, F minus, the values N is equals to 7. Argon, that means the K plus, Ca2 plus, Cl minus, the value is N is equals to 9. Krypton, that means rubidium plus and the Br minus, the value N is equals to 10. And the last one, xenon, cesium plus, I minus, the value N is equals to 10. So these are the Born exponents values. By putting these values, we can find out the crystal radii. When we have to find out the crystal radii, when we are having the divalent ions or the more valency ions. So example, let us take an example of conversion of univalent radii of Mg2 plus and O2 minus into their crystal radii. For example, for Mg2 plus ion, Univalent radii of Mg2 plus ion is 0.82. Z is equals to 2, that is the charge, and N, Born exponent value is the 7. So let us calculate this. So crystal radius is equals to univalent radius into Z raised to minus 2 upon N minus 1. So let us put these values in the formula, which is equals to 0.82 into 2 raised to minus 2 into 7 minus 1. And this value coming out to be 0.65 Armstrong. This is for the Mg2 plus. Similarly, for O2 minus, univalent radius of O2 minus 1.76, Z is equals to 2, N is equals to 7. Again, crystal radius is equals to 1.76 into 2 raised to minus 2 into 7 minus 1. So which is equals to 1.40 Armstrong. So this is the crystal radius of Mg2 plus, and this one is the crystal radius of O2 minus. Thus, the calculated inter-ionic distance of MgO is, that means the internuclear distance D is equals to radius of cation plus radius of anion, which is equals to 0.65 plus 1.4D, and this value is coming out to be 2.05 Armstrong. And we can see this value is exactly matching. So this value agrees with the observed internuclear distance. So further, trends in the value of ionic radii. There is a decrease in ionic radii value with increase in atomic number of the element. So as the atomic number increases, the ionic radii value decreases. This decrease is observed for D block elements, then lanthanide elements, which is called as a lanthanide contraction, and actinide elements, which is called as the actinide contraction. Then third, for a series of isoelectronic ions, that means which are having the same number of electrons, which are O2 minus, F minus, Mg2 plus, Al3 plus, the ionic radii value decreases, which increase in the atomic number. Then the fourth one, the cation with the lower charge is larger in size than the ion with the higher charge for same elements. For example, Fe2 plus has a larger radii than Fe3 plus ion. And lastly, in a group, the ionic radii increases with increase in atomic number. Then next point is the radius ratio effect. So what is the radius ratio effect? The radius ratio of cation to that of anion, the ratio of radius of cation to that of anion is called as the radius ratio. And thus radius ratio is equals to radius of cation to radius of anion, right? That is RC upon RA, radius of cation to radius of anion, and this should be less than 1. Radius ratio always should be less than 1. The effect of radius ratio in determining the coordination number and shape of ionic solid is known as the radius ratio effect. So by using this radius ratio, we can determine the coordination number as well as the shape of the ionic solid, which is called as the radius ratio effect. By using simple geometry, it is also possible to calculate the radius ratio for various coordination numbers, right? So let us see this, the shapes of ionic crystals with the radius ratio. So we are having one table, in that we are having the coordination number, radius ratio, that is RC upon RA, and the shape of the crystal. So firstly, when we are having the coordination number 2, for the coordination number 2, the radius ratio is in between 0 to 0.155, and the shape of the crystal is linear. Coordination number 3, radius ratio is 0.155 to 0.225, and the shape of the crystal is triangular. Coordination number 4, the radius ratio is 0.225 to 0.414, and the shape of the crystal is tetrahedral. Coordination number again 4, the radius ratio is 0.414 to 0.732, and the shape of the crystal is square planar. Coordination number 6, radius ratio is 0.414 to 0.732, and the shape is octahedral. And lastly, the coordination number 8, the radius ratio is 0.732 to 1, and the shape is the cubic. So these are the various shapes of ionic crystals which can be determined from the radius ratio and the coordination numbers. Okay, thank you.